Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can we just do mic check? Chinwe, let's hear your mic, and then Fola, let's hear your mic. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Okay. I think your mic is also good. Fola?
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes. It's good. All right. Thanks. So we have literally about 7 minutes. Inni will probably be joining the call very soon. He's the tech guy, so we're already live streaming on YouTube, and then he would also act as assistant, as it were, with the people joining. In case there's any issue, he would sort that out for us. Oh, okay. Inni, you're on the call. Well done. You're doubling as Swanu money for the night. Well done.
Set. Okay. What did that do?
So, Inni, should I make you host as well? Are we?
That's
Or you
already
host already?
yeah.
You already host, Abby?
Yes, everything's set.
Oh, okay, great. Well done. So you just help us with our people in case anything comes up.
No problem.
All right, thank you. But we're not recording yet now, are we? Now that it's live.
It's recording on YouTube, but when you start, you can record. You have to record on Zoom. So.
Oh, okay, fine.
I need the WhatsApp. Can you take the 1,000?
Okay. Okay. This one. In fact, the one, that one.
Okay, good evening, everybody. You're welcome to the Intellectual Property Masterclass. Can we all confirm that I'm audible? Maybe if you use the emojis to say, because I think everybody's muted at the moment. Okay, I can see some thumbs up. Fantastic. So today we're going to be starting on time. We said 7, so it's 2 minutes past 7. So without further ado, we're going to start the session. Okay, so let me just hit record. Okay, I hope it's recording. Fantastic. So once again, you're welcome to Intellectual Property Masterclass. We expect to have a very, very fiery session. I've been looking forward to this session for a long time now because I know it hits at the heart of everything that everybody on this call is interested in. So I want to use this opportunity to welcome everybody who has taken time out of their very busy schedules to be here and to be a part of this. And I hope that by the end of this session, you would actually find information or tools that would take you to the next step on your journey, to financial freedom, because this is what it's all about. So without further ado, I will just start. Okay. Why are we doing this? I know some of us are new, but a few of us have been here from February, the start of this campaign or this movement. What is it all about? So I'll just spend a few minutes just talking about the movement. At the beginning of the year, I and a few of my friends, we are part of a community called New Kings. We came together and decided to put this masterclass series that we call 7 or 8 income streams, actionable income stream series on. And our reason for doing it is that a lot of us have these backgrounds in finances, some of us in real estate, crypto, intellectual property. A lot of us are creatives, a few of us are entrepreneurs, and the large majority are actually 9-to-5 career people who are doing extremely well in their various fields of endeavor, right? And a few of us also own professional services. So we decided that we'll come together and put together this actionable masterclass series so that people who join can be able to leverage on the skills, our experiences, and be giving concrete information that would help them to begin to replicate the successes that we've had in our respective fields. But not only that, we have also decided that we should make investment opportunities as clear and as plain as possible so that people can key in and begin to build their income streams. So that's what it is in a nutshell. And so far, we've actually successfully had 3 master classes. This one, the intellectual property masterclass, will be our 4th. So the first one we held it in February. It was a financial markets masterclass. It covered things like stocks, mutual funds, treasury bills, treasury notes, bonds, commercial papers. And then the second one was the real estate masterclass. In that masterclass, we covered land banking, co-ownership, international real estate, fractional ownership, and the little known REITs, okay, real estate investment trusts. They're quite popular outside of Nigeria, but we actually have good ones in Nigeria that are doing pretty well. Okay, and then for the 3rd masterclass, which was the crypto masterclass, we talked about bearing stable coins, tokenized real world assets, crypto commodities, and registration compliant or regulatory compliant crypto assets. Okay, this is a way for people in Nigeria and Africa to hedge against our rapid inflation and still make good returns on our money that is being invested in that market. So that's the journey so far. It has been very insightful, interesting, and quite a few people from the polls in the group have actually taken action, which was really the point of this whole thing. They've taken action, and some people have started earning and adding to their income streams already. So as you can see, from the last 3 masterclasses, we have been able to identify 13 streams of income that anybody on this call can take advantage of. So for those of us who are new, maybe you missed the classes, and this is the first one you're joining, all the master classes are recorded, and you can find them on the Dominion Coach YouTube page. So that's what we have so far. And then today we're just going to go straight into our topic. But before we do that, I would like to just say a few words, and then I'll also give the co-presenters, my colleagues, a chance to just introduce themselves. So for me, my name is Swanu Money. I'm the convener of the 7 or 8 Actionable Income Streams Masterclass series. My overarching goal is to help at least 1 million people to achieve financial independence. So a bulk of the people that you see on the day-to-day are literally either struggling in financial bondage, which is debt, or they're just barely free, which is they don't owe anybody, but literally they're living paycheck to paycheck, head above water. But the goal is to get them to financial independence, where their activities on a day-to-day basis does not determine how they fare in terms of their financial living or well-being. So that is at that point, you have started generating enough passive income to take care of your basics, and then you can spend the majority of your time to chase purposeful pursuits, and accomplish things that you really only dream about. And that's the goal. That's my overarching goal for people who are joining this masterclass series. So with that, I'll pause and then just call on Chinwe to unmute and introduce herself. So please, Chinwe, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Chinwe Ajebili, and I'm a legal practitioner with focus on human rights activism, intellectual property practice, commercial and business law. So today I'll just be handling the intellectual property aspect of this class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chinwe. And Fola, please go ahead.
Okay.
Hello, Fola? Okay, yeah.
All right. I can't see myself. Can you see me?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. thoughtful. It's somehow that I can't see myself. I don't know why. But all the same, my name is Fola Folagbade, popularly known as the celebrity publisher. I help busy professionals to put their experiences out in form of books, best-selling books. So from ideation to completion of you know, book as a means of sharing your experience, your knowledge, and also any passive income. Of course, let me leave it at that so that I don't share more about the lessons for today. Thank you so very much for having me here, boss. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. So, as is our practice, we would allow the speakers go through their presentation material, and then at the end, we will take questions. So, everybody on the call, you're free to write up your questions in the chat box so you don't forget. And then at the end, we will just go through the questions one by one, and I will field them to the respective speakers to answer as the case may be. So thank you again, and let's just dive straight into what we have for today. So this is what we're going to be discussing. I will be taking the treasure within. We'll start off with the 5 industrial revolutions, the great replacement, the rat race, and the gap to potential. Chinwe, our legal professional, will come up and talk to us about how to handle our intellectual property, looking at the legal aspects, copyrights, trademarks, patents, and then also how to pass on our intellectual property and all that we ever achieve to the next generation through wills and trusts. Okay, and then finally, our celebrity publisher would talk to us about monetizing our intellectual property. So we were going to listen to the Waritul story. If you have not heard about Waritul, Waritul is one of the biggest publishing houses in Nigeria, fast growing, and is doing a lot of things. He's my publisher as well, so I'm very excited to have him on the call. So let's dive straight into the treasure within. So we've all heard the metaphor that we all are earthen vessels and we carry treasure. I don't know how many of us still believe it, but it is true. God has created each and every single one of us with a gift, with a talent, with something unique that we carry. But it's unfortunate that the systems of the world around us, our educational system, societal system, just our society generally, has brought us to the point where everybody is trying to conform, trying to fit into a box, trying to fit into the labels that have been given to us, such that we don't, or we no longer see the uniqueness that we carry. And that's something that has really cost us a lot. And hopefully through this presentation, we'll begin to see differently and hopefully get back to the original, so the ideal of what we were supposed to be. Okay, so I'll start with the 5 industrial revolutions. A lot of us have gone through the same process. We started off maybe kindergarten, we went into primary school, and then of course secondary school, then tertiary education for those who went through tertiary education, and then we're just following the conveyor belt system, right? But a lot of us are not aware that there are actually 5 industrial revolutions. So the first industrial revolution happened in the 18th and 19th century at the advent of the discovery of the steam engine. Okay, it was a revolution that just helped us to start transporting things or even moving from place to place because of that invention. Then the second industrial revolution started when our technology and inventors got us to the point of electricity, combustion engine, the manufacturing system of factories and all of that. So that was between 1870 to 1914. And then welcome the 1980s digital revolution. That brought about the third industrial revolution. And this is where personal computers came into effect. And then from then on, we started getting into the internet. And that is where a lot of us have been trained for. Okay, so all the whole schooling system you've been through literally is were put together. If you notice, you were reading books from the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, even 1970s, right? Today, they're still reading those textbooks. Why? Because they were programming the minds of the students for the second and the third industrial revolution to go and wear a tie or be a blue collar worker in the factory, sit in front of a desk, working with computers and the internet and all of that. That's what we were trained for. But trust me, the world has moved. The world has moved beyond that. For all of us who don't know, we moved from the third industrial revolution into industry 4.0, which was the advent of autonomous robots, big data, augmented reality, cloud, cybersecurity, industrial design, and 3D printing, all of that stuff, which most of us still think is new, right? A lot of people don't even understand it, neither can they grasp the entirety of the concept. So we're actually stuck. A lot of people, maybe a great percentage of people in Africa are stuck in the third industrial revolution, if not the second, right? And beyond the fourth revolution, in the industrial revolution, is the fifth, which is where we are currently in the world. So the Western world is talking about agent AI, agentic AI. They're talking about robotics, the syncing of human and machine. And you can see all the great things that are happening in that field right now. And the truth is, in this revolution, only people that have a personal brand, that understand their creativity, and have built communities will really thrive, because a lot of the work, a lot of the things that will be done are actually going to be mechanized. They will be done by robots. And before you know it, a lot of people will be like out of their regular jobs. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's science fiction, but it's true. And so I'm going to maybe talk on that in the next slide. If you look at my slide, you see the first one on the top left. A lot of ladies, they were interested in typing fast. How many words per minute at some point was like the big thing. Oh, I can type faster than you, whatever. At the end of the day, all those people were replaced by word processors. You didn't really need people to do all these things. The second guy on the top is a film producer or cinematographer. They were shooting videos using helicopters to cover aerial scenes and all of that. And it was very highly specialized. But today we have drones, right, that fly and can capture these shots. Anybody can ever do it. And then the third guy is in the transport business. People thought, we must transport things from one A to B. Today, we have autonomous driving vehicles that are taking over trucking, taking over long distance, even taxis now, robo-taxis are all over the place. So you can see that all of these people are going to be out of a job in no time. And then on the bottom screen, you see a highly technical engineer who went to school, did all the stuff, architect, building engineer, or whatever, and he's drawing by hand, great buildings and all these things. And today, all you have is software that is doing these things. Even AI is now better. You can just take a picture in a room and the AI will finish everything, render it, and show you what the final picture will be in a space of maybe like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So that guy now and all his training is gone out of the window. And then you now have the blue collar workers that worked in factories, warehouses, fulfillment places. Today, robots have taken over. Like Amazon laid off a lot of staff because they now have robo fulfillment centers where the robots are just working 24 hours. They don't need a shift break. They don't need paid leave. The robots are just working and delivering faster, better value than the humans ever did. And then finally, the last place is going to hit is the workplace as we know it, where we sit in cubicles, working on computers, and you just see a room full of people doing repetitive work. And right now, I know a company called Salesforce, one of the big CRM, customer relationship management companies in the world. they have laid off so much staff. They have about, I think at the last count, about 50,000 agentic AI. And then those, basically, in terms of the metrics, the AI is actually delivering faster and better than all the staff that they laid off put together. So it's crazy. So you can see that our world is fast changing, and except we change our mindsets and we begin to reposition ourselves, or we tool ourselves, or even dig deeper to find what our gifts, our natural inclinations, our talents, our skills are that the AI cannot replace. These are innate giftings. We'll be at the mercy of the rapid increase or pace of the technological evolution. So that's why we're talking about it today. Today, we're looking at the great replacement, not from a place of fear, but how can we best position ourselves to be important in the fifth industrial revolution. Okay, so that brings me to my next topic, the rat race. Everybody has heard the rat race, the rat race, the rat race. And I think I tried as much as possible in the run-up to the presentation to just drop some clips on the group to spark some conversation about the rat race. So what is the rat race? Okay, this is what we have all come into the world and we have known as life. This is what life is. We grow up, we go through the schooling system, okay? At the end of the day, we go to college, we find a job, and then we start paying off debt. For those who are not lucky enough to be funded through school, you probably took some sort of loan, or if you're in the Western world, you got some sort of government loans and all of that to go through your education. And then as soon as you finish, you now have to start climbing the ladder, right? You start in at the base level and start climbing Maslow's pyramid, you know, try to make ends meet, and then of course start paying back the debts you owe to society or to the government, etc., etc. You know, and then you're conditioned to believe that you only get 2 weeks paid vacation. In some places, maybe if you're lucky, a month out of the whole year. And then you are conditioned to work for 45 years or until you're 65 or 60. I don't know what it is now, you know, and that's the end of your working life. And then you're supposed to retire and quote. That is the rat race. That majority, at least 90 to 95% of the global population have been indoctrinated that this is the way of life. Okay? And people have just accepted it. And that's it. Every morning you wake up rushing through traffic, especially my Lagos friends. You wake up at like 3 a.m., you know, to get into traffic, spend a few hours, and then that's it. You do the work, and then you get back into traffic again, get home, and then repeat again tomorrow. So it's kind of like nobody stops to say, why are we doing this? Is this the only way? You know, people have just accepted it as life. Okay, so literally, somebody said that the trouble with the rat race is that even if you win, and this is where all this whole thing about promotion and climbing and doing this and backstabbing people and putting in late hours, burning the candle on both ends, even if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's the case because it's just higher level for higher devils. They take more of your time. You are now sold out to the corporation, and you spend every waking hour of your life thinking about what you deliver for them. At the end of the day, you do it at the detriment of your health, your family relationships, and by the time you're 60, a lot of people are complaining that they don't even know what happened. Where did the time go? They've lost relationships with their kids, excuse me, who are now grown, and they don't really have any community or communication. And then you see them walking into the health centers or the hospitals with bags of drugs because of all the poor lifestyle choices that came as part and parcel of the rat race. And you see them after a few years, they're dead, you know, and that's life. So, but there's another way. So for people who think the rat race is just about 9 to 5, no, it's not. Escaping the rat race is not about quitting your job, your 9 to 5 job. It is about avoiding the money trap. So I'm guessing the question in the room now is, what is the money trap? So I'm glad you asked that question. The money trap is a simple formula that is made up of 3 ingredients. There's consumption, production, and multiplication. So when your consumption is greater than your production and multiplication put together, you are in a money trap. That means you're consuming more than you produce and you're able to multiply. And that's where 80 to 90% of the population is. That's why they have to keep going to work, keep running on the hamster wheel, because if they stop, their consumption is going to overtake their production and multiplication, and that's it. They are in that trap for life. So what can we do as people who have now identified that this is a problem, the money trap problem? What can we do about it? There are actually 3 ways to escape the rat race. The first is to look at each of those ingredients that make up the equation. Simplify your life. You have to be able to take stock of your financial life today. What are the habits that are causing you to splurge and to consume and overconsume? What are the habits? Do you have an impulse buying habit? Are you just consuming without thinking through? Those are things you need to check from today. Okay? And then the next thing is that you have to work on production. It's one thing to have a job and you're doing that day in, day out. But you can see that inflation is growing faster than anybody can ever increase your salary, right? So that means you have to start a side hustle or a business or something on the side, right? You have to think along the lines of your innate gifts, your skill sets, and your passion, and then start producing things of value that would attract money into your life. And then thirdly, when you start attracting money into your life, you can now take a part of that money and cause that money to work for you through investing in cash generating assets, right? And that way you're building your income stream. So by the time you're upping your production and your multiplication, you find out that that side of the equation is now greater than your consumption. And before you know it, you're out of the money trap. And then your money starts working for you. Money is a great slave, but a bad master, right? The more you send money to work, the better it does for you. But when you are now a slave to money, it's a very cruel taskmaster. You know, so Warren Buffett, who is one of the greatest investors of our time, he said something that I think everybody on this call should take seriously. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die. And I'm sure we have examples. All of us have examples of people who have worked literally till they died. You know, they finished this, gave them maybe a gold or silver watch. And a few months after, they just kicked the bucket, you know, because of all the pain, all the ill health and all of that they got as a result of working so hard. You know, so it's very important that we pause, take stock of where we are financially, look into our consumption and how and why and our ideology around it, and then begin to take active steps to work on production, which is generating income from maybe a skill, a gift, a passion, an idea that you have. And then when you start making money, you now learn how to use the money that you're making to make more money. And that's why we've been talking about the 7 or 8 income streams, right? We've talked about 13 in the past masterclasses. These are things you can now start plugging your money that you're making into so that they can actually birth and make more money for you. So I hope that's clear. All right. Now, everybody has been told right from the beginning that you retire when you get to 60 or 65. That's the logic everybody has. I'm going to work until I retire so that I can be pensionable. They've sold us a lie. Yeah, that's all we need to do. Retirement is actually not determined by how old you are. Reaching a specific age does not actually guarantee you financial security or for retirement. You actually need a specific amount of money to retire. If you can get that money, that amount of money by age 30, you are good to retire at age 30. So you don't have to wait till age 60 or 65 or even 75 to retire. Once you know what your financial freedom number is and you start working towards it, you can retire as early as you want. Okay, so how do you calculate that financial freedom number? Okay, there's a formula. You can Google this, you can search it. It's called the financial freedom number because it is the amount of money that you actually need to retire. Okay? The way you calculate it is by looking at your annual expenses. So you can look at your monthly expenses, fixed and variable, get an average of it, multiply it by 12. That would give you how much you spend in a year, your annual expenses. Multiply that number by 25, and that's your financial freedom number. So for those of us who are joining this from outside of Nigeria, maybe you live somewhere in US, Canada, or whatever. If you spend maybe $50,000 per year, and everybody's different. Nobody's saying that everybody spends that. Some people spend more, some people spend less, right? But we're using this as just for this example. Let's say you spend $50,000 a year. For you to retire, you need to have $50,000 times 25. That's $1.25 million. That is your retirement, your financial freedom number. The reason is that if you invest that 1.25 at the current rate in a safe investment, maybe that's returning anywhere between 6 and 10% per annum, yeah, which is pretty reasonable. The interest you get on that money every year is able to take care of your $50,000 a year expenditure in perpetuity. So that is really your financial freedom number. And a lot of us, we earn so much. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you're able to keep. Yeah, some people say, oh, they've increased my salary. As soon as they increase their salary, they spend, they go up and just meet it up and spend, buy things. But you're actually supposed to preserve your wealth and begin to pursue your financial freedom number. So let's bring it home to us in Nigeria here. Okay, so I'm just going to use a typical round number. This is probably for a family, maybe not for the singles. If you're spending this as a single, then maybe you need to look at your financials again. So assume an average monthly expense of ₦1 million, yeah, just for sake of the numbers. That means you will require about 12 million naira to cover your annual needs, right? Your expenses. Now, to calculate your financial freedom number, you multiply that $12 million times by 25, and you will get 300 million. So 300 million is actually your financial freedom number. Because if you have 300 million naira today in Nigeria, and you take that money to a money market account, which is pretty safe, right? As we speak, they're giving about 20.8, yeah, in interests, annual percentage rate, not IRR, sorry, APR, 20.8% as at the last time I checked. That means that money, that 300 million, will be yielding you about 170,000 naira every day. And Stanbic actually pays this to you every day if you're with them. For those of us that joined the Financial Market Masterclass, one of our speakers talked about the money markets, and I actually keyed in immediately. And it's actually true. They actually deliver every day. They top up your account on the basis of how much you have invested. So just imagine your financial freedom number is 300 million because your expense is about $1 million a month, right? With that, you're going to be getting 170,000 thereabouts, 171 every day. So that means in a month, your money market will be paying you about 5.3 million. So you can see it's way beyond what you actually need every month. So that way you can actually retire today if you have 300 million in your account and your expenses is in the range of 1 million to 2 million on a monthly basis. So this is how you calculate your financial freedom number. So if everybody knows what their financial freedom number, and like I said, everybody's at different levels. So people are spending 300 a month. Some people are spending 200 a month. Some people are spending even 100 a month, 100,000 a month. Bigger families are spending maybe 2-3 million a month. So whatever your case is, calculate your financial freedom number and start working to raise that amount of money through your production and your multiplication. Remember the equation on the money trap. Once you get this number, put it in a risk-free investments like treasury bills and then maybe money markets, for example. Very safe. And sit back and collect your money that you need to run your life at the current level of living. And then you can spend the rest of your time doing the things that actually matter to you. Okay? I hope everybody's with me. Please, can you just signify either with an emoji or something? Because it seems like I'm talking to myself. Thank you. Can you guys hear me? I'm not seeing anybody. Oh, great. Okay. Thank you, Bolebi. Well done. Glad you joined. Okay, so that's pretty much what it is. I'll try and move a bit faster. So now to your job and your work. A lot of people, like I said, have been indoctrinated into this idea of get a job, go to school, get a job, get a job, get a job. And nobody talks about the work. So a lot of people are also confusing their job with their work. Now I work a lot with acronyms. They help me remember things. So job is just over broke. So literally a lot of people that have jobs, if you check it, before the month is over, you're broke. And that is designed on purpose so that you keep coming back to work. Because they give you so much, why would you come back? So they make sure they give you just enough to get by so that you come back to work. So if you focus on job all your life, you're only going to be just over broke. However, our work, if we can find our work for me is wealth opportunities revealed by knowledge. So if you look at all the people that are doing really well in the economy today or in the society today, they found something. They know something that you don't know, that you're going to job every day and you're doing job. They know something. And they're sitting in their house, they have mates, they are drinking coffee, and money is just coming. And you're wondering, you'll be thinking that, oh, they are doing juju. It's not juju. They have one specialized knowledge that you don't have. And so you need to find out what your work is. What are those wealth opportunities that are revealed by knowledge that you're actually missing out on? So I like to use the Bible story of Jacob. Yeah, for all of us that are Bible students, or at least you went to Sunday school at some point in your life. You heard the story of Jacob, right? When he ran away to Laban's house. And of course, he tricked him. He married his daughters and told him to work for him for like 14 years. But in the end, he ended up working for 20 years. And Jacob had nothing to show for it. In fact, Laban had changed his wages 10 times in 20 years. And for me, that is what you call the inflation effect. You're working a job, you're getting paid a particular salary, inflation is just going up, and your salary is not changing. So your salary is actually being changed by inflation or the Laban effect 10 times. You can't afford. I remember there was a time when we were buying rice for like maybe 20K or something like that. Now, bag of rice, I don't know what it is now. The ladies can maybe tell us, maybe 100K or whatever. Tomatoes, onions. So your salary can't cut it anymore. That's really what Jacob was going through. And then he had to, of course, cry out. He got an idea. He got a dream that he can renegotiate his wages with Laban and say, okay, I'm going to work for you, but I want my wages to be the spotted and the speckled sheep. So, of course, Laban, being the crafty trickster, he removed all the spotted and speckled sheep from Jacob's possession and only gave him plain sheep, plain white, or maybe plain black or whatever. I think it was plain white. And took all the other ones. So let me see how you're going to reproduce and get spotted sheep. But of course, Jacob had an idea, a dream, that he could cut poplar and put it in the trough where the animals were coming to drink. And during their mating season, once they looked at the poplar, they were going to produce after the patterns in the poplar. And it was amazing. So when the strong ones were coming to drink and it was mating season, he would cut the poplar sticks and put in the water troughs. And of course, they started mating and then birthing speckled. So that way, his own flock increased. And that was because of a divine idea, a God-given dream. And everybody on this call, you probably had one of those ideas. And then you didn't do anything about it. And then one day you see another person do something like, that was my idea. But that's because you didn't act on it. So literally, these ideas and these opportunities come to every single one of us. The question now is whether we act on it or not. And if we're diligent to follow through with those ideas, those business ideas, those visions, or those unique giftings that we have, that is the only way you're going to come out of the rat race. Because if you continue this job thing, you're actually just going to be over broke. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but that's, I thought to throw that in there, that we are supposed to begin to seek wealth opportunities that are revealed by knowledge, specialized information that you have access to that other people don't have access to. So you can capitalize on it, leverage on it, and now begin to make real wealth. Okay? So that's my contrast between the standard job and your work. All right. Now, I want to go into, I decided to pick the gifts because, like I started with, everybody, God gave everybody a gift. Whether you know what it is or not, it's a different story. We all have gifts, talents, skills. Some of us are leaving it dormant. We're not working on it. We're not honing it. And that's where it's going to be. Garbage in, garbage out. God is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you reap. That's a standard law, right? If you don't work on your gifts, nothing is going to happen. So let's look at somebody who really typifies what I'm talking about. Okay? And I want somebody to guess who that person is in the chat box. So maybe we can take some guesses. Who do you think that person is? So there was a young boy that his father, and this is what our parents are supposed to do for us, or you who is a parent now, you're supposed to be doing for your kids. Beginning to find out what they're good at, right? This guy's father found out that at age 2, he had a canny ability to hit the golf ball with so much strength, so much precision that it was amusing, or maybe amazing as it were, for the people that were playing. His father was he worked as a golf caddy in one of the golf courses, and so he used to take his boy there, and the guy was just practicing, and he found out that there was a unique skill that this boy had. Oh, great. I can see some answers there. Tiger Woods. Fantastic. So that's Tiger Woods. That's young Tiger. So he found his gift, or at least his parents helped him to discover his gift, right? So the first G is the gift discovery. That's the gap. We're trying to spell the gap to potential. The next thing you see is application. This is young Tiger. He spent his spare time, free time, working on his game. He was honing it. He was applying himself. While his other friends were playing other games, he was focusing on golf because he realized that he had a gift, and he had a supporting system, parents and all of that were paying for lessons, paying for all the things that he needed to develop that gift. Okay, the next thing was action. He continued, even though he was schooling, which is doing the same thing that every other person was doing, going through primary, secondary. Wherever he was in his secondary school, he was playing golf for his school. He got to Stanford University and was playing golf for the college, for the university. So that's where the power of diligence and consistency comes in. Okay, it sets you apart from the pack. And then, of course, he became so proficient at golf. And according to Malcolm Gladwell, there's this 10,000 hour rule that if you practice something for at least 10,000 hours, you will be in the top 2 or 1% of the population in the world that is good at that thing. Okay? And so you can see from all the wins he had, the man used that gift, seemingly small gift, and today he's a multi-billionaire, in dollars, just from that gift. Nobody's asking him what he got, whether he got a third class in Stanford or he got a first class or what. Nobody cares. That's what they'll be asking you if you're going for a job. But once you have a gift, nobody cares about all those things. So the goal is for us now to begin to discover what our giftings are, begin to work on it, and especially for us that have young ones now, let's begin to train them differently from the way our parents trained us. Let them begin to focus more on their gifts, help them develop it, bring it out, nurture it, so that they can now begin to shine and find those opportunities that would work for them. The Bible even tells you that a man's gift will make room for him. There's no room for you. Nobody will make room for you in this world. Your gift is what will make room for you. So the onus is on you to begin to find that gift, begin to work on it so that you can be as proficient and be in the 1% of that gift. And then as you can see, the final P is pass it on. Every great man or every great woman knows that they have to pass it on. You can see now Tiger is passing it on to his boy. He's doing excellently well. I think his daughter is also a golfer, and they're paying it forward. A lot of us just think about ourselves alone, but you are supposed to get to the next level. You're supposed to get to a point where you're able to pass it on and train other people. So that's the mindset. And I also adopt it in all my things I do. I look for people I can coach, people I can train, I can mentor, to pass on the skills, the information, everything that I have gotten so that they can be better and they can get to their destination faster than I did. And I think that's something I like to recommend to everybody on the call. All right. So we've talked about the rat race. We've talked about a financial freedom number. We've also talked about our unique giftings and the gap to potential. So I think this is it. One of the things that I also believe is a hindrance to us is because we're too rational and we're too religious in this country. Okay? I don't know if my friend is on the call. I won't even mention his name. I saw a post he put up today. I am built by God, so I will not fail. And I laughed because we've been talking about failure and embracing failure, right? Everybody on this call at one point was a baby, right? We're all toddlers. Is it possible that there's somebody on this call that as a toddler, you just stood up and you started walking? You didn't try, you just stood up. The first time you tried it, you started walking. If there's anybody on that call, please, on this call, please, I'd like to know who you are. Maybe put up your hand or signify in the chat box that you are that person. Okay? It's not possible. Everybody started crawling, standing, falling. It's the natural pathway of life. So when you now start becoming too religious or too rational, you don't want to think about failure, because if you think about failure, you will fail, all those kind of talk. You're actually going to shortchange yourself in the long run. I don't know anybody that just woke up and started riding a bicycle without falling. I don't know anybody that jumped into the swimming pool for the first time and swam the full length of the Olympic-sized swimming pool. Failing is part of how you grow. So we need to embrace failure. And for me, I saw this and I thought it was fantastic. Failure is another acronym, and I've taken it as part of my acronym now. You fall, you acknowledge, you investigate why you fell, you learn from it, you understand what to do better, you realign, and then you evolve. So I want to encourage everybody on this call, please embrace failure. Forget about all those religious things they're telling you. Failure is actually part of how you grow, how you proceed, and how you progress in life, and how you evolve in life. So don't be afraid of the word. Don't say I cannot fail. Okay. If you like, we say you cannot fail. I will embrace failure, and I will learn, and I will evolve. And the faster you're able to do it, the faster you iterate. There is no businessman alive today that is doing well that would not have a failure story to tell you. So anybody that is telling you that you will never fail, because you are built by God, I don't know what Bible the person is reading, but failure is actually a part of growth. So you must go through the process of failure, fail fast, and move on and evolve. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. And then finally, if I'm not mistaken, how do we get out of the rat race? There are 4 things that keep us in the rat race. Fear. Oh, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Let me not venture out. Who knows what will happen? Then greed. Maybe they are paying you some small coins. You are excited. They promoted you. And you are so comfortable. You want to get more. You don't know that the person that is paying you doesn't want you to leave because they need you to keep doing that work so that they can keep making much, 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 much more money than you are ever going to make. And they'll be giving you breadcrumbs and you're there. And then finally, no, there's ignorance. A lot of people don't read. They don't educate themselves. Beyond what they learned in school, they stop reading, they stop growing, and that's it. You're stagnated with the old 1945 Fortran knowledge that you ever had. And you say you're a computer scientist. You don't know anything else. You don't know what has happened. You don't even know that. You don't even need to learn Java anymore. There are no code, things that you can do and still build things in the tech space. And then there's also conformity. Everybody in our family, we are all doctors, or we must have one lawyer, and they chose me to be the lawyer. and that's it. You know, everybody's conforming. Meanwhile, we have unique giftings that if we actually explore and tap into, we will do wonders for ourselves, for our family, and for the world at large. So literally, you have to learn to overcome these 4 things I just talked about for if you want to escape the rat race. And there's a Japanese philosophy called ikigai. And one way they do it is they look at what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs, and what you love. If you can find a way to begin to work in the intersection of all those things, you are working towards ikigai, and that's purpose in Japanese. Yeah, we are living a purposeful life because you are now using your skill sets, your giftings, your training, and all the things that you have passed through in life to do something that you are good at, to do something that you love, to do something that meets a need in the world, and then also to do something that somebody is going to pay you for. Once you're able to find that sweet spot, you're found purpose, and you're going to be working in flow. Flow is that state where it's as if you are above the world and nothing can stop you. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to share a little bit about my story because it's not just to be saying, practical. And that's what this whole masterclass is about: actionable steps and examples of how this can be done. So I'm going to start off. This was me in my rat race job as an engineer. I was feeling cool with myself, of course, making good money. Was able to marry a wife, had children, built my house, and you'll be feeling like you have achieved in life. And you now realize that when there's some small shaking in your company, everybody's running helter skelter to go and get BP machine because they don't know whether they will drop them or one thing. You know, so I got to a point about 12 years ago. I was sitting in the office, I was listening to some people talk. And these guys were like 3-4 years ahead of me. And the guy was talking to his colleagues, saying he was in 200 million debt. I think he took some loan. The thing went south with whatever he invested in. And as they were paying him, they were deducting from source. So he was only going home with like 50,000 naira. This is somebody like 3 or 4 steps ahead of me. I said, God forbid that I'll be in this kind of situation. So that's when the light bulb moment went off for me. And I started looking inwards, find out what my gifting. I'm actually a storyteller, right? And I remember back in secondary school, I went to FGC Enugu. There's this lady, I can never forget her. She's called Mrs. Onwudiwe. Onwudiwe would tell me, Swanu, you have this gift. You write so well. Why don't you come and join this competition? She will always just sign me up for different competitions, you know, either debate or written and all of that. And I was like, what's this man's problem? I beg, what did English do for anybody? You know, but that was it. I didn't really take it seriously. Well, of course, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something that I was putting a lot of time into. Now, when I started discovering that I could explain concepts to people, talk to people about certain things, I started taking it seriously. I started doing speaking gigs, teaching programs, conferences, church, Toastmasters, just to hone the skills. And then finally, I got to the point during COVID where I was able to have the downtime to sit and write books. And I wrote my first book during COVID. I've just finished my second book, which will be published this year by our celebrity publisher that you get to speak to or hear from later on. And then the next thing was I started teaching and training people. So part of this, what we're going through now as a masterclass, is the coaching gig. And then I also have training gigs where I charge people. So all these people that came to me, DMing me after Crypto Masterclass, please, I charge people for extra information. Masterclass is free, but if you want the real cocoa, you have to pay for it. That's just on a lighter note. So I started earning money from doing other things. And then I'm now doing media, entertainment or edutainment, education, the cross between education and entertainment. I'm putting out content, and hopefully we're going to launch our pilot for something I'm creating in the next few months. And in the middle of that, I'm working on my multiplication. So I run like an investment fund where I invest specifically in cryptocurrencies, and it's been doing really well. So now my multiplication and my production is way greater than my consumption. So I'm definitely out of the rat race. Yes, I still keep that rat race job, but if tomorrow I wake up and I don't feel good, I can quit if I want to. If the company says, we don't need your service again, I'll collect the small change they are going to give me and I'll walk away. I don't need to go and be praying, go to one mountain to be qualifier. I don't need to do any of that because I've already sorted out the right-hand side of my equation, and that's what everybody needs to do. You don't make it a religious thing. Just work on it. And then you find out that you're no longer in the money trap. You can actually begin to live your best life, fulfill what you have as a dream, and just live. So I really want to encourage everybody on this call. I'm going to be passing you on to Chinwe now, our legal expert, who will talk to you now that you have this idea or this dream or this vision. How are you going to protect it, so that you can make the best of it without being screwed, for a lack of a better word, by people who would normally come out of the woodworks when they see a good idea. So I think I'll pass you on to Chinwe. Chinwe, go ahead. You're next. Intellectual property protection. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. As I said earlier, my name is Chi Inwe. So today I'll be talking to you about intellectual property. So you will hear some people say, I know I write very well. Or you hear someone say, I know I sing very well. I know I even heard someone tell me today that anywhere I look at, I see business opportunities. So because I had this class, as I was preparing for the class, I was like, what have you done with that? You can actually write, you can actually sing, you can actually do these things that you have expended your time and your resources in, and you will gain from it. So why are you not doing that? So let me start with the introduction. Intellectual property. When you hear intellectual property, what comes to your mind? Intellect, property. So I'll make it very simple so that we don't go into all those, I don't use legal jargons to kill you. So I'll just go straight. Intellect comes from your mind. Then it's now a property, belongs to you. So creators of a work have to benefit from their time, effort, and creativity. You won't tell me that before someone comes to sing a song, the person just woke up one morning and you must have expended time, maybe honing that talent. You must have also expended effort. And again, as a creative, this class is actually for you as a creative, if you can create anything at all. So that element that it comes from your mind, that fact that it's something that emanates from your mind, you can actually earn from it. It's not just to talk about it, it's practical. So I'll be talking today about copyright, trademark, and then patent. Next slide, please. So when I say copyright, what comes to your mind is the protection that creators, they enjoy. So it covers literally works, artistic works, and then musical works. It can also cover cinematography, it covers films, all those related aspects. I think the other speaker, that's Mr. Fola, will talk about the literary aspect of it. So what does it actually mean? It means that you have the right, you have the exclusive right as a singer, as an artist, as a creator in these areas that I just mentioned, to enjoy the benefits of your work. So no one can make an adaptation of your work without you earning from it. For example, you have written a book in English and someone says, wow, I like the content of this book, but I have Yoruba audience. Can I translate this work now to Yoruba? That means you are the owner of the work, but the person just wants to create it, translate it to Yoruba. That means the person comes to you and you sit down, you draft what I call a license agreement. Now, it now gives you the right to translate the work to Yoruba. You are the main creator. It's from you. You are supposed to be getting, so when people now buy the Yoruba version of that book, you will be getting some royalties. So it's another aspect of getting a passive income. You are sleeping and then the money is coming. Also, let's talk about the people in the music industry. You release a song. These advertising companies, I have one, what's the name? DistroKids. There's another one, TuneCuts. What they do is for you is they publish this music, they advertise it rather. They put it in Spotify, what's their name again? Audiomack, and people listen. When people listen to this work, what happens? You get a certain amount of royalty. You are sleeping and money is coming. So you don't have to be in the rat race. You are not walking around, you are not working, but you are just sleeping, and then the royalties are coming in for you. So that's another aspect that you can, artistic, or people that draw, people that do things related to arts. You don't just sit down and think that you can't earn from that. It's just lack of knowledge that makes it seem that we don't earn from the things that we are doing. So what are the requirements for you to say, oh, I'm going to enjoy my work? Number one is fixation. Originality, number one, rather. Let me take originality. It's coming from you. Originality doesn't really mean that you didn't, maybe you copied someone's work and then you are liberated on it. What it means is it's coming from you. It must be original. And then the second one is fixation. When I say fixation, what do I mean? You have put it into a definite form. For example, you have written a book. You have put your music into a disc, or whatever means now that we used to put it. It must be something, because copyright does not protect just ideas. It protects expression of ideas. So you must have expressed it into a form for it to be protected. So when you have fulfilled these two conditions, it actually gives you the right to enjoy copyright. It gives you have the right to enjoy your work. Let me not be missing the exclusive, because it's from you. Then you can now have the right to now give it to others. When you now share it with others, you now get some economic gain. So what are the rights you can benefit from your copyright? We have economic. When I say economic, it refers to the financial gain, the monetary aspect. Then there is also moral rights. I remember when I wrote my project in school, you have this part where you have to acknowledge the authors. You say, I got this, my work from so. I got this, my work from Mr. A, the other textbook. And it's something they even take seriously abroad. You can't just go and copy someone's work verbatim and you say, yes, I've written my project. No. If you took any part of any subject, any topic at all from somebody's work, you must acknowledge the person. So this one is unlimited. Or whenever a song is, oh, I know who sang this, you're enjoying it, you acknowledge the person that sang this song is so person, and this person is benefiting from the work. So if you're an artist or anybody who works in the musical and then in the artistic fields, you can enjoy. You also, photographer, for instance, let me use that one as an example. If you take a very good photograph, you own the rights to that work. The person that you photograph might say, yes, I'm the person, it's the person's talent. The person must have studied, the person must have spent time. So it's the photographer that actually enjoys the rights. The only thing that happens is maybe when you want to publish it or you want to use it for any commercial purpose, you can take permission from whoever you photograph and say, oh, guy, I want to do this. Can I, you people will now come to an agreement. But the person who owns the right to that work is the photographer. So that's all about it. If Mr. Pola will take care of the writing aspect. If you sing, there are advertising companies that can help you, so that when you pay them, they take their own money and then they revert yours. If you can write, if you can sing, if you can draw, even movies, when we watch movie, for instance, you know that we can take them from all these streaming platforms. What happens is they get a certain amount of royalties, the directors or the writers, the storytellers, they get something in return. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll be going into patents. Oh, trademark, sorry. Trademark is like a symbol or a name. For names, okay, let me start like this. When people have businesses, you see them saying, I have a logo. A logo is not a trademark until it is registered. So a logo is what it is. It's just a logo. You create a logo and you say, oh, this is mine, but you've not registered it. It's just a logo, and there's nothing you can do with it. If any other person, because you're not just the sole person who is very creative. Someone can wake up one day now and decide to create the exact trademark that you have, and you're asking yourself, where is it coming from? Well, because you have not registered yours, you can't even lay claims to that. So trademark is like a symbol in relation to goods and services. I love to use this example. Sabinos, this comedian, he registered one of his, he trademarked his name. You can actually trademark your name and it's known to you. It can also be a mark. When you examples, you can see Coca-Cola is a name just written in a fine character. It can also be just a sign. It can be a name. So when you register your trademark, it distinguishes your services and your goods from other people's own. When you see Coca-Cola now, for instance, you know that, oh, Coca-Cola, this is Coca-Cola, and you know that it's Coca-Cola that it is. And you see in Nigeria, for instance, you see other brands trying to copy do a replica, as in, it's just so similar. That one is industrial design though, but you see their trademark looking just like another company's own, because they, for instance, that what's the name? Coca-Cola is a known brand. They just want to, people like to relate with glories. Now people know it. And they now want to make their own logos look like that of Coca-Cola so that it's deceptive. Because you might see it and then it has happened. There is one that I know, Premier Soap and Premium. They are exactly, look at the name, Premium. If you don't look very well, you are most likely to buy the one that is premium. Meanwhile, it's premier that has been in existence. So it's very important that whenever we have goods and services, you can actually trademark it. How does it happen? You go to the commission. We have several classes. You can do that by meeting an attorney, though, so that you don't get confused, because that's another area that people just wake up and they think they can do it by themselves. Excuse me. Most times you can't. You need to meet an intellectual property attorney to direct you. You can register that trademark at the commission, and then you have the exclusive rights. So that it's not when it's just as a logo, you now wake up and say, yes, this one is for me. Meanwhile, it's not for you. You can't just enjoy that right because it's for another person. But there are some marks that cannot be registered. If that mark is deceptive, if it's scandalous, if that mark is of a chemical substance, it can be registered. And you know the Nigerian coat of arms or every other country. So anywhere you are in the world, you can always meet an attorney in that area to help you so that you don't get confused, because someone can actually sue you for using another person's trademark. It's a criminal offense. You want to deceive the public because you know this is similar to a brand that has blown. You now want to get associated with it so that you can also blow, which is very wrong. It's a criminal act. So that's another place that you can benefit from. Your mark becomes a symbol that is similar to your goods and services, and then you enjoy. For the services, we have service marks. Trademarks refers to maybe businesses and trades that you do. So that's it for trademark. Let's go to the next slide, please. Patent. When you hear patent, I know that some of these words that are sounding new, you're asking yourself, where have I been? Because it's not a really popular concept in Nigeria, but people actually protect their products and their processes. So that's what patent covers. The person who created anything, it can be electrical from any field, it can be electrical, it can be mechanical, from any, or even chemical, electronics that you see. Someone that woke up is somebody's invention. Someone woke up and then said, oh, I can create this. I can actually use this iron, and then my clothes are straightened. Oh, okay. Someone tried it, and then the person is enjoying the patent in that work. It's somebody's right. And then for you to also use it, you must, something must come out. So for the person to enjoy it, you must register it. It requires registration. It requires you that you register it. It protects products and then processes, even if it's an improvement. So someone can wake up tomorrow now and say, I want to create an iron. You will just buy the iron and you say, iron, please go straight to my clothes and iron. And it goes and it does that. The person can protect that thing. So it's an improvement on the iron that we already have. So what are the requirements for your work to be patented? Newness. It must be new. It must not be something that have been disclosed to the public before. It must be new. And again, it must have inventive activity. That's, you check the extent of difference the work has from the one that has been in existence. Just like the instance I gave you now with the iron. You can just buy your iron and you start your. But if tomorrow someone creates one that you can talk to and it starts working, you can patent it. Something that has been checked. And again, the third one is it must be capable of industrial application. Yes, first, it must be useful. But what is it practically applicable? Let's say, for instance, you call someone in that field and the person looks at it and say, oh, I feel the difference. There is actually a difference. That's what I mean when it's industrially applicable. So for you to make that happen, you make sure that you must have registered your patent. Just make sure you meet these requirements, because you don't just create a process. It can also be a process. Someone will say, I know I can give you 6 elements now that if you use it, you become rich. If you meet these 3 elements now, you can go to the patent office and get it registered. This is an area that has not really been explored in Nigeria. Reason being that we don't have enough scientists who can check some of these processes, who can check some of these products and say, yes, okay, from what we have and this one, there is actually a difference for it to be patented. But that doesn't mean that we don't do that here. Even in other countries, they assign this responsibility to some organizations, and they do that, and they help clients to register it. So let's go to the next slide, sir. So here we are talking about passing wealth. When Coach was talking about gaps, the last one was pass it on. So how do you pass on things that you have, properties that you have, goodwill that you have to your children, to the generations behind? It's not something you just create and you want to just leave it in your head. Oh, I'm the owner of this work. Let me just leave it here. You have to find a way to transfer it to the other generation. First, I'll be talking about wills. Next slide, please. So wills is just simply is an intention of a person of how he wants his or her property to be shared upon his death. That is just what will is. But it's an area that we don't love to talk about. They'll say, are you saying that I'm going to die? If I write it now, does it mean I'm going to die tomorrow? No. You are just setting out how you want your property to be shared. We've had cases in court that you see families. I'm even going too far. You remember the Herbert Wingate case? They were all over the place. Oh, he has this one. Who takes this? Who takes that? Well, you can actually prevent that by writing a simple will. What does it mean? A will, just state out, what does a will offer you, for instance? Peace of mind. You say yes, and then, yes, even though the person is there, you have peace. Even as you're living, you still have the peace of mind that, yes, I know that whenever death comes, which is inevitable, I know that my properties will be shared, right? My children will not suffer. Then the positive display of wishes. Then you can just state out, oh, I have this, because when you hear some people, you can actually allot any property you have using a will, any type. So I don't even have anything that far in your house. You can actually say who you want to give it to on a lighter mood. You can. You can use your will and do that. Positive display of wishes. You can say, I give to my so I give to my children. And you can also elect who will be the trustees for your younger children. Because if you leave it like that, anybody can just come up when the kids are no longer there, when the parents, for instance, are no longer there. And, anything can happen. But you can, through the will, say, this is who I want to be the guardian to my children. All right. And it's even easier to prepare letters or probate letters instead of letters of administration. So I don't want to go into all those details, but what are the features of a formal, of a valid will? First is testamentary. It speaks after the death of the testator. A testator is someone who makes a will. It speaks after the death of a testator. It is ambulatory. You can change it. That's the testator now can change it while he or she is still living. And it's voluntary. Nobody forces you. Just sit down, get a tab. See, these are the properties that I have. These are how. Then you get a solicitor to help you, because if you decide to just do it yourself, which is you can, but you also have to register it. You can't just do it yourself. There are some requirements that will be met, which only a professional knows. You can just decide to say, I want to write it. Yeah. After writing, what happens? If the person dies, what happens? How will the will be collected? How will you read it? How will it even be read to the people that you have left behind? And again, it must be signed. And again, it will be witnessed and attested to. The attestation I'm talking about, before two witnesses. Two people must be there. You can sign before them, then they attest to it as witnesses. So the requirements of a will, just have said, writing, sign, and then attestation. They're actually very important. It's not something you just think you can just do on your own and you just go there and relax. That's all about will meet. If you, after this class and you feel, yes, I have, even if you feel you don't have so much and you feel, yes, I want to, the little that I have, there's something we call codicil. Codicil is like a mini will. You've written a will and then you are getting more properties. What you do is you find a codicil. It's just like, oh, I want to amend what I already have. Oh, let me just add something. You can, as I said, it's ambulatory. You can decide, oh, let me just change that one. Let me withdraw the one I've written, and then I have something else. And this most important part of this will is that you can actually use it to give any form of property, any form at all that you think that you have. You can use it, and then you can pass this wealth that you have to the younger generation. So let me talk about trust. So for trust, the difference here is that for trust, it's just funds that can actually be transferred. And we have some companies who do that. You can transfer funds and then it can be passed on to, it's there for it to be building interest, just as it's going. And then the younger generation can be able to get it, and they will hold that. That's these organizations to hold this money in trust for the younger generation. Another way is through gifts. You can use deed of gifts. I have this I want to give to my child. And this one is, you can actually monitor how the person you are passing it down to is handling it, because it's not something that takes effect after the death of the person who makes this gift. It's something that it continues. Oh, you are watching. Let's say, for instance, you get a house and you say, let me not even get this house in my name. I have a child who is above 18. Or yeah, let me give this house to this child. You are still alive. You watch how this child manages the property. You know, is another way through which you can pass down what you have to the younger generation. Next slide, please. Yes, so I think this is my last slide. So which you might be asking yourself, is it just for us to mention it? There are some, for instance, for the wills, you can register your will in the probate. That's with the government. Another thing, downside of you, is that whatever it is that you have, you actually have to give the government 10% of it. And again, you have to pay, of course, the solicitor and the executors of this will. And that's it for the special. We have DLM. They also focus on educational trust, living trust. I don't want to go into all those theoretical aspects. That's why I generalize it. Then asset protection. Then we have Stanbic IBTC trustees. They deal on educational trust, private trust, will services. For the wills, some banks now, yes, okay, Stanbic IBTC, they can still be, that's a good custody where you can keep your will. They can keep your will for you. You can also keep it with your solicitor. You can also keep it at the probate registry, so that if anything happens, they can always access this will and then read it out, make sure the executors will now make sure that every detail, all your wishes are followed up. Because you see some people also stating how they want to be buried. Is that explicit? You're stating out how you want your property, how you want everything to be done after your death. So as we gather wealth for ourselves, it will also be nice that we also pass it down. Let's not just be those kind of people that will just want to hoard them, and then we are not passing it down. We are not making any effort. We are not even trying to teach. We're not trying to let them know about what we'll have or any other thing like that. I think that's all now. Thank you so much for having me. I'll be expecting
Thank you
your
very
questions
much.
if you have any. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shiwe. So we're going to move to our celebrity publisher, who will take us to the practicals of how he did it. You know, he put together all the things I've talked about and all the things Chinwe is talking about as well. And he's actually a life case study himself. But let's hear from you, Fola. Over to you, please. Fola, are you with us?
Right. Sorry about that. I was trying to unmute myself, but I think you needed to do it from your hand. Good
Okay.
evening. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me once again. My name is Fola Folagbade. I'm an author, a publisher, a creative entrepreneur for more than a decade now. All right. Nigeria is tough, but yes, we are doing business here. And so many of the things I'm going to be sharing with you today is from my experience running business in this part of the world, and also attracting people from different part of the world, to do business with me, to do business with my company. All right. So can my slide come up now? Actually not. Okay, yeah. Introduction. Why are we here? I understand that every one of us here, we are passionate about something. There's something we love doing, but trust me, passion is not enough. It's not enough. I know we've been hearing it. There is even a book like that, right? Talent is not enough. The same way passion is not enough, right? Yeah. So I'm going to show you how I am able to use my passion and turn it into money generating company. All right. I will start by sharing a little bit about this gift of mine. So I have always been the aesthetic kind of person since I was pretty young. Even though I gained admission to study fine arts in school then, I dropped it because I didn't see a future there. All right. So maybe if you have a kid, just like Coach mentioned earlier, if you have a kid that you are able to spot things like that in, I encourage us all to, of course, see how we can develop that in our kids, right? So I gained admission to study fine art. I didn't see a future there because there was technically no person I was looking forward to being like, that has studied such a course or something. So I dropped it. I went on to study accounting, right? But right there in school, when I was in school, I discovered that I had to connect back to my core, all right, which was the aesthetic. I remember doing the yearbook for the set before me and also for our set. And from there, one thing led to another, and we have what we have today, a publishing brand right here in the city of Lagos, right? So now connecting it back to passion, passion is not enough. You have to position it very well. Now, there are graphics designer, there are people doing, I always say this, that for every business, for every talent you have, there is the small way of doing it and there is the big way of doing it. So you have to be conscious of who and the kind of people you want to attract and the people you want to serve, right? Yeah. So, like when I started out, I was doing a lot of graphics and all of that, right? I sat down and asked myself, right? Graphics, do I want to be serving the people, the musicians that are doing one or two graphics and all of that, or I want to serve brands, businesses? And I was able to give myself an answer there. And that helped me with where I was positioning myself and the kind of people I was serving, right? So it's not enough to be gifted, it's not enough to have passion about something. You have to determine from the onset the kind of people you want to serve. All right. Yeah. And that would really determine a lot of things in terms of everything, in terms of how you even operate, in terms of how you communicate, it will determine a lot. All right. The same graphics that I know how to do and I'm able to build an empire with, I call it my seed. Some other people have the same skill and you see them doing the business in one kiosk or something, so you have to decide early who you want to serve. Please, let's move to the next slide, sir. What does it mean to monetize your passion? I think I've already made that. Turning your skill, I honestly don't want to delay us. I know we've spent time first and second section, so I want to see how I can quickly make this very brief, but also very impactful as well. All right, turning your skills and experience into or messages into income. Okay, so just like it's been said earlier, that we need to move from active to perceive. By that I mean you are working or you're not working, you are earning. And if you are here right now and you have lived more than a year, you have worked before, you have been to school before, you have been in a relationship before, you have done anything in that line before, trust me, you have a book in you. Because we are always tempted to want to say that I don't have anything to write about, I don't have experience, I don't. Trust me, you have experience. I think one of the problems we always have is that which we were able to do with ease. We believe that everybody know how to do it. But trust me, that thing you are doing with his, a lot of people out there, millions of people out there want to learn about it. So your experience, you have been married for 5 years, you have been married for 10 years, you have great experience. Trust me. You have a kid, you have two kids, you have trained them, you have imparted them in one way or the other. You have experience. So you have something to share with the world. All right. I'm just saying it that, okay, you out there right now thinking that I don't have a book in me. Trust me, you have a lot of books in you. You just need to sit down with an expert or you need to think deeply. And then you're going to see a number of books that you should think of writing. All right. Think of writing. And one of the reasons why I always advise for people to write books is, and as a means of also monetizing your passion, is this one thing you can give not just to yourself, you can also give to the generation to come. All right. It's like a legacy. All right. So think about it like that. Think about it from the angle of, okay, you're going to monetize, make money from it. And of course, you are also able to give it to the generation to come. Maybe that would give you more reason to consider writing a book today. All right. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, so the case study, that's Warita. How did Warita start, right? You can do well, maybe after this section, you can put on Google Warita and you would see a lot of reviews and feedback, one of which I put there, that newspaper, national newspaper, and all that have been writing about this brand. But how did this brand start? Like I said, it was from that seed in me that has to do with the aesthetic. I love visuals, and I have always been a lover of books. And I noticed that when I buy Nigerian books and buy foreign books, I can always tell the difference between them. And so I had to bring in my gifts, my what I'm passionate about, which is what I love. I mean, I love saying good things, right? Yeah. I've always been a big believer of, no matter how you serve me a sweet wine, if it's in a dirty cup, I can't take it, right? So presentation has always been a big deal for me. So I was one day I was just reading, I ordered for some books, Niger books and foreign books, and I was so embarrassed by the quality of that Niger book, right? And I don't want to mention the title now. And from there on, I told myself that I'm going to positively influence this whole industry, that I'm going to positively influence this whole industry, right? By the way, like I said, I studied accounting. One of my coaches once said something to me that, okay, fine, whatever it is that you want to do, and that has been my own thing. Anyways, whatever industry that I want to play, I'm not going there to just fit in. I must be number one in that industry. So ask yourself, what I want to do. Can I be number one in Africa? Can I be number one in Nigeria? And that has stayed with me. So I looked at that industry and a lot of lapses and all of that. I told myself, I'm going here not to just fit into it, not to just join the queue. I'm going here to lead this industry positively, to influence it positively, and coming with that my little seed that has to do with aesthetic. All right. And so I started Warita and introduced the importance of presenting your book, not just having a good message, but presenting it very well. I introduced it to the whole industry, and I can tell for free that the changes, as in even other publishing brands, are already picking up and are already changing, the whole industry, so to say. All right. So that's how it started, from that skill, that little seed in me. That's aesthetic, love for aesthetic. And we have different radio, TVs, national stations. Our first year anniversary was so amazing that I people were asking if it was just 1 year. All right. It's October last year, we did our fifth year anniversary, and we've worked with well over 1,000 authors, not just in Nigeria, not just in Africa, but in different parts of the world, all from that seed. So you may want to ask yourself right now, what is that seed that you've been ignoring? What can you build with that seed? There's so much. Let's look at it from the low side. Also look at it from the bigger picture. What can you build with that so-called little seed? All right. So please let's move to the next slide. Lessons from Warita, started from a deep belief in purpose. Just like I shared before, I created this platform to be able to help others. So I've always been a big believer that, okay, fine, whatever it is that you are going to make money from, it should come from a place of help as well. All right. And as many people as you can help will somehow convert to what you're going to earn. All right. I put some feedback there. And this is one of the things I always tell anybody, whatever it is that we are doing. All right. Let integrity be the core of anything you're doing. All right. When you say something, make sure you stand by it. In this part of the world, especially, all right, integrity is scarce. And so when you have it, people will come for you. And that explained why we have so many, writers, authors coming to Warita. All right. And it's been, aside the publicity, aside the national newspaper and all of those things, the referrals that we get has been amazing from people that we work with. All right. So and I always tell business people that sometimes it's not even about looking out for new clients. The people you have right now, what are they saying about your services? What they can be the next breakthrough that you would have. I decided to share this. The first testimonial there, like, and the screenshot there was from Ignite, and was being hacked. That, okay, fine, who is your publisher, blah blah blah, and you can see I want to write a book. That's how our authors refers us. That is how they talk about us, right? Just speak with Fola, it's done. This is what they are willing, they can take a bet on our our work, right? Yeah. So the other one, I think, is from Facebook or something. It's just Warita. And for this person, we've done quite a number of books for her as well. Okay, so I'm just saying that whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that your passion is, whatever it is that your gift is, make sure that you had integrity to it. It is important. When you promise people something, make sure you deliver it. And there could be reasons for issues to happen. How you handle it determines a lot. You just have to understand that even if it means losing money, just make sure that you satisfy that one customer. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, sir. Publishing as a monetization pathway. Okay, so like I said earlier, you have a message, story, expertise, to share with the world. We want to know it. When I was starting out business, one of the challenges I had was all these big brands that we know, the founder of UBA, all of these guys, we don't have their book to read. Their books are not yet. So we are left with reading foreign books. And the reality there is different from here. That's the truth of the matter, right? So what stops us from writing books, blessing lives with our own story, with our own message, with our own expertise, right? Yeah. So you can do this by either publishing it as ebook or you print copies. Okay, so and there are two types of that I'm going to address here, publishing that you may want to explore on. All right, we have the self-publishing, which is what we do, holding author's hand from beginning to the end. But when they start making their royalties, they make it 100%. All right, we don't share royalties with them, they make their money for life. And the other type is the traditional publishing, where you have to share the right with a publishing house. So what that means is you've written the book, the publishing house will take care of the financial part of it and make a lot of decision. And when sales are made, they are paying you maybe 10 to 15%. And it's even bad in this part of the world because, truth be told, they don't have a way of accounting for these things. So it's what they tell you. All right. So that's one of the reasons why we don't even go that route at all. We work with people from beginning to the end, guide, do everything to make sure their book is out well. But when they are making their sales, they are making it to 100% as well. So you may want to decide on what type of publishing you want to go for. And then I talked about digital, that's ebook, maybe audio or ebook. You can leverage on platforms like Amazon. And the good part of it is we recently launched our own platform that is definitely going to change a lot of things in how publishing is being done in Nigeria and Africa. All right, a platform very soon we're introducing print on demand. The platform is called Bookplace. You can go there, bookplace.com. All right, you're able to sell your book in any version, ebook, audiobook, and even print. And we deliver anywhere in Nigeria. And we're moving to Ghana before the end of this year. All right, and then we will keep moving to other part of Africa. So write a book, work with Warita. And it's going to be a beautiful journey. But most importantly, work with Warita or not, just make sure that you document your life and experiences and impart this generation and even generation to come. And much more than that, make money while at it. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so why publishing works? I talked about some of these things before. Credibility. You know, when you write a book on a subject matter, you automatically become an authority, technically. So if you are playing in an industry, let's say you are a cake maker, you have love and passion for cake. If you write a book on, I mean, for that industry, all right, when you are speaking, when you are talking in the public place, when you have a speaking engagement and you talk about this book of yours, people would see you in a different light. So you are credible, you are an authority, and you are different from just anybody. Because before you write a book, there is something here. Okay, so another reason why you should publish a book is the passive income that comes from it. I mentioned that um, you keep earning, you keep earning. Imagine doing an ebook and you only invest in the capital. Every other day, money keeps coming into your account. You know, it's a beautiful experience. All right. Then the global audience reach. Um, for instance, now, if we worked with you to publish your book, we put you on platforms like TVs. I decided to put one of the posters there of one of our authors. You automatically get on platforms like TVC, on national newspapers, among others, right? Yeah. Then, of course, that's Professor Yemi Oshibanjo tweeting about one of our published books, right? This author probably won't have, attracted this kind of recommendation if he didn't do something like this, like publishing his work, right? Yeah. So it can open doors for you, of course, speaking engagement, coaching engagements. I would rather invite someone that has a book on the subject matter, invite such to have a section to speak in my program than someone that has not done anything in terms of maybe book, right? So that being said, let's move to the next slide. Licensing. It's another way of making money from your intellectual property. So we've worked with authors that, by the way, some of these covers books that you are seeing are Warita published books. I believe you want to say they are beautiful, right? Yeah. So um, when there is one of our authors that we once worked on a book with that partner with a company. That's part of the ways to make money. Partner with a company that decided to buy like copies of that book to give to their staff to do CSR with it. All right, it's another way of making money. So you can write a book, you can partner with a company, they can even be the one to sponsor the entire publication, even pay you, and then you're able to give them copies of that book and they're able to distribute for their use. So it's another way of making money. And not just books, you can also license music, like some people that do soundtrack, if that's your line, of course, artwork and all of that, you can also do it, and then you keep earning any royalties from this. That's another way of making money. Okay, so the next slide. All right, money generating residual income, money that comes in long after the work is done. I mentioned this earlier before. So for instance, let's say it's an ebook or even print book, right? You can publish it and 10 years to come, you are still generating money from that single investment in terms of in terms of the time, in terms of the whatever it is that you put into getting the book out, and you keep earning, keep earning, keep earning. That's the one beautiful thing about book as well. So it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And common sources, we have book sales, online courses. right? You should all embrace that. You can start with books, then of course you can turn your book into courses, membership, communities, licensing deals, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, thank you. Let's move to the next slide. Passive and active income. So, active income. When he was talking about us retiring early, right? One of the beautiful way you can even retire on time is for you to um, create products that is earning you passive income consistently. Consistently. Let's say, for instance, now your monthly bill is 1 million, like he said, and you have products, maybe courses, maybe books that are there. You don't have to do anything again about it. They are there, but every other day they are generating funds for you. With that, you are moving close to retiring pretty soon. All right. The other one is, of course, what most people are doing. They need to be there. They need to be actively involved before they end. Right. We have the active. You have to spend your time. In some cases, you have to spend your money to be able to earn, a living. Right. It's not a place to be forever. Right. Even though we're starting from there, it's a place that we should plan to move from. Okay. So, and one of the ways, as said repeatedly, is for you to write a book, have courses, and let this thing be running. Share your knowledge, share it. If you love music, do music, right? If you love movies, of course, you can shoot a movie or something, movies or whatsoever, but it's important that you share your knowledge, your intellectual property in terms of what can help this generation and the generation to come so that you can keep earning even in your sleep. All right, next slide. Next slide. Okay, so building a product ecosystem, just like we do in business, building ecosystem in your industry and all. You can also do this with your products, you know. So and that's what the convener of this is actually doing. Okay, so he started with the book that was published by Horse. Then he has a community. Trust me, most of what at least when he started, most of what was being taught in the community were from the book. So the book was the manual right here. So you can see, you can start from the book, you can turn it to course, you can turn it, you can from there get speaking engagement, you can turn it to a mentorship program or something, right? So you can start with a book and then you move to workshop or courses, you can turn it to courses, then you can, of course, with that, you're getting speaking engagement, you can turn it to a mentorship program as well. But just start with a book, your experience, your knowledge, your story. And some of you would say that I am still young, I can't write a memoir. Trust me, you can write a memoir at any age. You can write a memoir at any age. There's a lady that is coming to my head right now, and that memoir sold like crazy. She died pretty early after that, anyways. She wrote the memoir at age 15. She didn't know she was going to die, but she died after a while or something. But that memoir sold it and is still selling. So you can write a memoir, you can write your experience, you can write on your expertise, you can write on maybe the industry you play or whatsoever. But just start with a book and then you can keep building up on that. The next slide. From passion to paycheck, right? So just like I've been sharing, you should have you have look at what you have passion for. Look at what you are gifted in, what you love to correct, what you love to change. All right. Then of course, the problem you want to solve. And I always advise let it be a problem that most people have, like many people have, so that when you are in that market, you have many problems to solve. Okay, so look for the problem that your gift or passion can solve. Okay, and then look for people who pay. When I was introducing myself, I said I help busy professionals. Okay, so because busy professionals are technically the people that can pay for what we do. They are the people that would rather pay for their time. Okay, so and have you do it. Technically, people that are not busy, they will be the one that will price you to so jokes apart, you need to define the people you want to serve. You need to even draw up the avatar. What age, what should they be doing, what are they supposed to be earning, and all of those things. You need to decide that so that you are able to know they are the people that will fit into what you do, and then you won't be frustrated. And I always say this: you can't serve everybody. That's the mistake we do make. Because the truth is, you don't like everybody. Why do you think everybody would like you? So you can't serve everybody. You need to decide early the people you want to work with. And let that also determine how you do everything you do in terms of presentation, even in terms of location. In terms of location, in terms of the kind of staffs you hire, in terms of how you present your brand, you know. So decide early. And then, of course, the product you want to offer, the solution you are bringing on board, you need to also decide that early as well. All right, the next slide. Okay, so here on this slide, you have The Financial House. That's a book by the convener, right? And published by us. Amazing book. If you've not um, ordered this book, you should. You should at least let that be what you are paying for this whole section, right? At least order this book, and it's definitely going to bless you, bless you, bless you. Okay, so tools and platforms to monetize your passion now in terms of books, right? Amazon, of course, you can sell your book on Amazon. We have the print on demand, we have the ebook, and you can also sell on Audible. That's for the ebook, right? Then we have our own platform as well, book place, where you can sell your book as ebook, audiobook, and even print book. Really amazing. First in Africa. But we are coming big time. You will all be proud of what we are building with this platform. Right, yeah. So we have the Teachable, we have the Gumroad, we have the Canva, etc. These are platforms that can help you either to design or make your work better so that you're able to present it in a better way. You understand, right? Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so call to action. I've mentioned this before. Think about that passion that you have. Think about that skill that you have. Think about that little seed in you that you want to work on, that you want to develop on. Don't let it. Don't let this whole time spent today just be another time wasted listening to people. All right, take action immediately. All right, decide on how you want to turn that into products or services. Decide on it right away. All right, and if you need to have a section with me and we're able to run through all of this, please feel free to reach out. It's not free anyways. Then set a timeline: 30, 60, or 90 days, right? That you want to achieve these things. You want to write a book. How long do you want to do this? There's this say that if it's a goal without, if it's not timed, then it's still a mere wish, right? So you have to put a date to hit for it to really be a goal. Okay, so set that goal in the next 30 days. And the truth of the matter is, you set this goal, you work towards it or not. 30 days will come, it will go. 60 days will come, it will go. 90 days will come, it will go. So set that goal from today. If you need to work with a coach, talk to the convener of this section. I'm very sure he has a program that can also help you to achieve all of this. And you will be happy that um, you take that step. Thank you so very much for having me, Coach. Thank you for having me. I think that should be my last slide. Thank you. I'll be waiting if there are questions that I need to address.
Thank you so much, Fola. Fantastic session. I liked the things you talked about, straight to the point. And I have to say this, when I was looking to publish, I published with Amazon first internationally, and I was like, I need to publish with a local person. Of all the people I checked, and I'm a very finicky person, when I saw Fola's work, it's not just one, not two, not three. I was convinced. And then by the time my books came, I was blown away. I mean, a lot of us have probably read my book, and you've seen the quality and all of that. He does such a great job, and I'm really happy that he took the time out to be part of this masterclass series today. So thank you very much for that, and then also Chinwe for the work you did. To just simplify copyrights, patents, and trademarks. Fantastic work, and please, anybody that wants to speak with them or reach out to them, you can just send me a message, and then I'll just give you their contact details, etc., etc. So we've come to time for question and answers. I don't know if there are any questions on the chat box. Okay, I can see. Okay, thanks, Chinwe, for your presentation. You mentioned that with a will, you pay a percentage of tax to the government. Is that the same for trust? Also, are trademarks renewable in Nigeria, or is it a one-off payment? So, Chinwe, if you can, please, let's hear you. Chinwe, you are.
So I needed you to allow me to,
Okay.
you mute everybody. Okay, for the question,
Oh,
the
really?
duration.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes. Yeah, okay, for wills, when you deposit your will with the government, that's at the probate registry, when the will is to be, read and all that, 10% of whatever you have would have to be paid to the government. It's not like that for trust. Whatever charges that the banks or which financial organization decides to charge, I don't think it's up to 10%. It would just be their normal charges. Then for trademark, the duration is indefinite, but it's subject to renewal. So when you register, it has for the first one, it has 7 years initial period. Then after that 7 years, then every 14 years, you can now renew it. So duration is indefinite, but it's subject to renewal. Let's say you register today, after 7 years, you have to renew. Then after that one, then after 14 years, then you have to continually renew it. I hope I answered the question.
All right. Please stay on. I think there's still another trademark question. What are the requirements to trademark a brand or business in terms of documents required? And maybe you could advise on cost as well. Is that something you can take here, or do you want that person to reach out to you?
The person should reach me, but let me just answer for the procedure. The procedure is just when you come up with your logo. Remember, I said your logo is not your trademark until it's registered. So you get that with the details of the owner. The owner can be, maybe it's a service mark, an individual, or it's for a company. You get the details of the company and it's sent to the commission. The commission now does what we call a search. They will conduct a search. If the name is available, then you'll be told. You now send all your other details to them, and then we'll have an acknowledgement form which will now be issued to you, showing that actually this trademark now belongs to you. So it's not a process I can just explain and you just get it done. You need Sorry, coach, you mean
sorry.
I've actually been talking. Oh, hi, God.
No. It's just like a few seconds. I've made it such that
Okay.
everybody can unmute themselves now. Please try and unmute yourself so that people can now ask, because I think there are no other questions on the group. So please, it's open mic now. If you want to ask a question, you can just unmute and ask your question, please, or maybe raise your hand and then I'll call you to ask your question. Okay, Herbert, I think you can go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
I want to ask Chinwe, if it seems if one has to give, instead of leaving the will and and having to pay 30 to the government, can one actually gift out the things while one is alive and not have to? By that, I'm not sure one will have to spend give anything to the government. What is about that?
Okay, yes, you can. That's one of the advantages of using a deed of gift. However, if the person is a minor, how do you gift a minor a gift, you know? So that's where the wills and the trust will now come in. You can actually use it, even if it's maybe someone who is above 80, you say, please, I want to give you this property. You draft a deed of gift for whatever property you want to give to the person, and it works. So you won't say because you want to now not pay any fees, because I think the trust will work here. You now just hold on to the property. So I think that works too. A deed of gift can work.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I have GA. GA, you have the floor, please. Go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this program. I have two questions to ask. The first one is, I think this is going to be on YouTube. So which channel will it be uploaded on YouTube later? And
Okay.
my second question is, if I wanted to get in touch with Warital, I know you mentioned something
Yes.
about maybe if you wanted maybe a
Yes.
consultancy session or something like that. How does one go about that? Thank you.
Okay. Fola, are you on the call? Are you still on the call? Maybe you can just spell that out to everybody.
Yes, my email address. I don't know if the person that asked the question is in the community. If the person is in the community, I believe my email address will be shared on the community. So that would work.
Yes.
fola@warita.com. That's the email
Yeah.
for short, right? Yeah, fola@warita.com. So I will be sure to respond when an email comes in there.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And then for the YouTube, my channel is Dominion Coach, one word. So just search Dominion Coach on YouTube and then you'll see it. But hopefully by tomorrow or next, we should have this video.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I see God's will. God's will, go ahead.
Okay, Coach, thank you. I want to direct my question to Coach. I've sat under your teaching, each time I listen to you, my whole body is shaking, like, where have I been? But I want to ask, you talk deep into my mind, and sometimes I'm like, how do I start? I'm a bit confused. Somebody that is trying to diversify his investment, but then you're trying to build one source of income and make it to consolidate it in order to be able to diversify your investment. What advice do you have for such person who maybe has intention to diversify, but is a bit focused on building a business that he has started, and then is now hearing on this concept of diversifying, and is trying to get a lot of confusion and maybe distraction? What advice do you have for him, sir?
Okay, great. So for me, very good question. You need to focus on that business and get it to a point where it's stabilized, right? Once you have started on that path, get it to the point where it's stabilized and it's running to the point where it is generating returns. Yeah, of course, you're going to plow back the returns into your business. But I always say, I use the 20-20-20 rule, right? So maybe I would invest 20%. Of course, everybody's different. I'm just telling you what I do. I will invest 20% back into the business, and then I would use some of the refund some of the money that comes in. I will put it into other things as well. So part of my proceeds, I will put it into other cash generating businesses that would help sustain what I'm doing here. You don't have to now leave the business and go and open another business. What we are saying is, how can money work for you? Not that you go and look for another thing to start doing. I want to free myself as much as possible. I want to make money my slave to work for me. So basically, you focus on your main business, whatever it is you're doing, get it to a point where it's stable and it's already a cash or a cash cow is generating income for you. Now, when that money comes in, you can now start sending that money on errands, diversifying, using the money, not yourself, not your strength and all of that, but the money itself. putting it in other investments that can bring more money to you, so that once you're sleeping, a lot is entering. That's the one I like, a lot. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. All right. Any other questions, please?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions?
Sorry, good evening, coach.
Yes, Choma, go ahead. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
joined the class late and I know I will later go and watch the video, but I heard them saying something about probate office to get
Okay.
a friend of mine wants to get a letter of administration from the probate office, but we're in a fix because we don't know the amount in the man's account, in the dad's account, the late dad's account. And we don't know, is there a way to get a letter to the banks? Because these banks can be funny. They did that when I was trying to do mine for my dad. We lost some accounts and they didn't give us till like 5 years after we started discovering some. So we are trying to see a way we can. Is there a letter? Is there a way we can use to get what was in the man's account? Like, don't really know how to go about it.
Okay, I can take that.
Maybe Chinwe or legal. Yeah, go ahead. Chinwe, go ahead.
So do you know if he had a will?
No, he didn't have a will.
Okay, so you have to get letters of administration because
Yes.
that's where it starts from. Because
Yeah.
the bank can't even tell you, except it's the bank that will give you like a bank certificate from the
Yes.
probate registry. You have to make an application to the probate registry. Now that there is no will, when you make that application, you will get a lot of forms that you have to fill. When you fill out those forms, you can now get what we'll call a bank certificate. Going to the bank now sends it back to them, letting them know that
What
this
if
is
we
the
don't
amount.
know the banks? Because now we just know 2 banks. We don't know if you add more banks.
You can send that letter of application, like a letter can be written to all
Yeah.
the banks. You think that, he might have an account, and yes. So that's the starting point, going to the probate, because it's more difficult now that there is no will. So you have to apply for letters of administration.
Yeah, I know how it works. I did it for my dad. I was the one that did my dad's own. So she's trying to get me to help her do her own.
Oh, okay.
But at least I knew everything about my dad's account. I was
Yes,
aware.
I understand.
But her own, they don't know anything.
Anything,
So
yeah. It will be a bit tricky.
The man was hiding it.
He was hiding a lot. Yes, exactly.
Share with your wife. Oh. All right. That's on a lighter note. Okay. Any other questions, please?
Yes, please. We have one more question on YouTube. I think it's for Chinwe. Person is asking that if you are opening a social media account, do you need to get any intellectual property coverage for it?
Sorry, I didn't get the question, sir.
If you're opening a social media account, whether the person needs to put a intellectual property covering any of the things you cover for it.
No, I don't think so. It's a social media account. You can just open your social media account. Then if the person is a creative that is covered
Okay,
in
so
any
I
of
think
these
let me
areas.
try and help.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe let's say you have a social media account. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes,
okay, you have a social media account and then you're doing a lot of creative stuff on that account. Can that work you're putting on that account be covered by any of these trademark and all of that? Because the account is not a Nigerian account.
Register wherever. I don't know where the person resides, but in wherever you are, you can actually trademark it there. You can also get a legal practitioner to do it also here in Nigeria. It can also be done here. So just start with where you are first. But it doesn't really cover anything about social media. That one is separate. I think it's just an account that you have. But if you have anything in these fields, just go to the right registry and get it registered.
Okay. So I think from what I'm getting, if you're a creative, you should be worried about your work, not necessarily on the medium it's being published. Yes. So cover your work first. And then when somebody now starts infringing on your social media, then you can now, on the basis of the fact that you've registered it somewhere, now pursue legal recourse and all of that. Abi?
Yes, exactly. Yes, sir.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. We'll take, this is 2 hours, or we'll hit 2 hours mark. So maybe just one last question and then we'll call it a night. So if there's anybody that's itching to say something or to ask a question or even a comment, please go ahead and then we can call it a night. I think somebody asked for one of the slides. Let me just roll back to that place. So whilst I'm doing that, if there's anybody that wants
there's
to...
also a question. There's a question unanswered still on the chat. Is there a platform to guide beginners who are interested in writing books? That's one there. And then the last one, can you post the slide that shows the 13 passive income investment streams?
Yes, I just did that.
So, okay.
Yeah. So that's where I am now. So for us to guide writers, I don't know. The person asking, are you in the New Kings community? If you are, then of course I can hook you up with people who are writing or who have written, and then maybe one-on-one they can sort of like handhold you on how to do it. Another thing is maybe if you reach out to Warritol, I know they offer quite a few services for new authors, just depending on what you need. So again, you can reach out to Fola and his team. I don't know. I know I read that time I was trying to get Warritol to publish for me. There were other options. So Fola, are you still on the call? Do you guys have something like that? New authors?
Oh yes. It depends on what the person wants. We do a lot. We have academy to help people get better in writing, right? And of course, we also help people that don't. I mentioned that busy professionals. So people that don't even have the time to write, but they have a message they want to put out there. So we do what we call ghost writing as well for them. And of course, people that have even written but want it to be fine-tuned. Do you understand? Like they've written, because how you write for social media is different from how you write a book. All right. So some people know how to write normally, but of course, for a book, it's a different thing entirely. We do all of that, the structure and all of that as well. So it depends on what exactly the person wants. And if the person just want to get started with book, probably how to publish your very first book. I have a book on that as well. Before you publish, things that you need to put in place and all of that, right? Yeah. So it just depends on where the person is. You understand? That would determine what, but anything is possible. We have everything, right?
In-house. Okay, great. So please contact Fola. If you're in the New Kings community, just reach out to me as well. I can help on that. All right. So finally, we talked about financial freedom number. That is critical for me. I hope everybody got that. Have we been able to calculate our financial freedom number based on what was said today? It is critical because for me, the biggest challenge I think a lot of people have is that because they have been indoctrinated into this lifestyle of work till you're 60, work till you're 65, become pensionable, blah, blah, blah. It's as if they put an off switch on their brain. They don't think about anything until they get to 65. So how many of us are willing to take an action to calculate that number by tomorrow so that you know at least where you are vis-a-vis where you're supposed to be? Show of hands, please. There are about 40 people left on the call now. So how many hands am I seeing? Okay, Udoro, I'm seeing your hand up. God's will, Chinwe. The rest, people don't want to calculate your freedom number. You want to be in a job for life, Abi? Yeah. Okay, at least I've tried now. Maybe you don't want to be free. All right. So with that, if there are no final comments, I'd like to say a big thank you to my co-facilitators or speakers. You guys did a great job. I know it took us a long time to fine-tune our slides to today, but I think it was worth it. Thank you so much, Chinwe, and also my publisher. Now I'm coming by next month again. I'll be knocking on your door to publish my second book, The Greatness Journey. So I look forward to working with you again, Fola. And thank you so much for availing us your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well done. Yeah. So thank you, Ini. Ini has been doing a lot of great work in the background, YouTube and Zoom. So thank you, everybody, for the time. I hope it was worth your time. Well done, everybody, and good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.